When things happen in life, you will often see behaviors or treatment or people interacting, and you will think to yourself, am I normal? Is this behavior normal? Why is this normal? What am I doing wrong? And I want to talk about that. Hey, I'm Alfie. Today I'm going to talk about setting rules. Rules, not just boundaries, but rules that enable you to be the best you and not try and comport yourself to a mold that is normal. See, when you're a bit odd, off, or perhaps even just a normal thing that everyone goes through, it's very easy to look at normal and wonder why things where you deviate are where you deviate. Why you aren't normal can sort of hold you back. But the problem with that is, normal doesn't necessarily mean best, doesn't necessarily mean nicest, doesn't even necessarily means everyone gets out alive, essentially. It just means, usually, when people are going about their life, normal is the path of least resistance or the path of most protection. It's kind of depressing, but you will see it everywhere. So for example, if someone's getting bullied, yeah, you've got the kid over here who's he's crying, he's getting bullied, whatever. But then you've got the bully and the people who are laughing along. But there's this whole section in the middle of cunts who are basically just pretending it's not happening. Or if you ever order food at the actual diner and don't just use Uber Eats like me, if you make the mistake of going during rush hour, you will see people complaining about the fact that the underpaid, overworked, understaffed person behind the counter can't serve 100 people in a very fast amount of time. And they will complain and they'll leave in a huff. They won't even say thank you. And it's like, Jesus Christ. What do you expect them to do? They're just treating them like less than human. And I've seen this, because as you get older, it's very fucking annoying because illnesses start coming in. Divorces, separation, kids and all this stuff. Often, when someone needs help, if you're not super close to them, really, the thing you do to be normal is say, good luck, see you next time. Which I think is kind of shitty. So if you do find yourself looking at situations in life where you're like, all right, I can see what normal is, but it feels a bit shit, feels a bit not the best, and especially if it feels a bit not you, then you should set some rules. No matter what issues or whatever you're working with, you should set some rules about what you want to do and how you want to behave. You should be able to go through those situations and say to yourself afterwards, yeah, this was a bit weird, but I pushed through whatever was holding me back, or usually holds me back, to be the best me I could be. And I think that's super important, especially if you are someone who is, let's say, struggling, working out who you are and sort of what you want to be as a person and not letting weird emotions or whatever hold you back. I think that's super good, and that will help you as well in building sort of skills. I know, it sounds like a workshop in school where you're trying to choose your next career. We need transferable skills. But it's true, right? So if you start doing this, you'll start to get a bit more confident at pushing through those behaviors and those emotions when you need to. You'll start to build confidence, and perhaps a lot of these will start to build leadership skills, management skills, etc. They require you to go out on your own and do your thing. So this is all very vague so far. Let me talk you through a couple of examples. And I want to be very clear, I feel kind of gross talking about this stuff as real life examples.
Yeah, he wrote the script.
Perhaps you'll see sort of what I mean. I'm quite socially anxious, I'm quite depressed, I'm quite generally aloof from people that I don't consider super close and super relatable to me. But there are people in my life who I view as important. And one of my rules is, despite all the social anxiety or whatever, if someone's important and they need help, I will basically do it. And I will go way too far. Now you're thinking, well, that's just normal, right? Other people see everything as a normal moment in time, and they might be getting stressed, they might be getting high emotion, they might be trying to push things, but a lot of people struggle to sort of push. They struggle to say, I'm being a cunt, I'm in the stubborn prick. She just knocked over my treats. Fiat! Normal people struggle to sort of recognize the moment as for what it is. They might be trying to push, but they really struggle to push in a way that isn't normal, especially for them. They struggle to push and say, I need to do this, and it's very important to me to do this, so I will basically say fuck me to my personality, and I will make sure it happens. Whereas I'm okay pushing past that a bit. The thing I will say is about leadership skills. For me, when I try to approach them, I can often be coming across as a stubborn cunt.
In a nice way.
Because that's what I'm trying to do. But, so for real life examples, if someone was ill and they don't want to go to hospital, because that's a whole thing, they want to call an ambulance because they don't want the attention, they don't want, it's just, I'm just ill, I'm just a little ill. But if you're paying attention, you might see that they are more than a little ill. They're not listening to the people around them telling them to go to the hospital. So what you should do is, or what I would do in my rule is, I'm making you go to the hospital and I don't really care what you say. Let's go. And they're gonna say no and they're gonna fight it, but you're basically pushing them and forcing them to do what you want. But because it's important to you and you can kind of override what they're saying and trusting that you're not so autistic that you can tell what's going on. The one I saw is a friend of mine who was going through a lot of medical troubles. She had started getting a lot of pain and basically no one was taking her seriously. The dentists were basically telling her can't do anything. Doctors weren't really doing anything. She didn't really trust doctors because she's got her own issues, which I'm sure I'll cover in a video some other time.
In all fairness, if your doctors are a bit shit, I can't blame you for not trusting them.
And so, as someone important to me, what am I gonna do? I'm basically gonna do everything I need to. So the point isn't that setting these rules will make sure you go through life painlessly. In fact, I would say probably if you're setting rules that are outside the norm, chances are you're going to go through life a bit more hurt. But the point is that you can stand up at the end of the day, dust yourself off, say, fuck this, but at least I was me. When you set your rules, if you start to notice you're living by rules, go to therapy. That's my catchphrase for this fucking channel. If you notice these things, if you even set rules whatsoever, go to therapy. Because there's a very good chance that your rules will boil down to something that basically, with a bit of tweaking, will look like a diagnosable disorder. And it'll be something you should probably work on. And the same for the other side. You see, I'm obviously erring on the side of like, put yourself out there, be selfless. If you want to err on the side of be selfish, and they sort of sound a bit more like boundaries rather than rules, but if you want to set those aside, you go for it, just be you. I don't care about that, just be you. But on both sides, they both have an issue where they can lend towards toxic behaviors that you definitely need to go to therapy for. If you're setting selfish, more self-protective, let's be polite. If you're setting the more self-protective boundaries of how you deal with people, that's fine. But if you're leaving people sort of distraught, if you're being toxic to them, if you're sort of confusing them, manipulating, whatever, that's not okay. Go to therapy. If you're on the other side and you're sort of putting yourself out there a bit too much and you're kind of losing yourself in the putting yourself out there part, then that's called self-erasure. That's its own sort of issues. Go to therapy. Basically, everyone go to therapy. And to be clear, I'm on that self-erasure side, 100%. I'm going to be going to therapy for that friend I mentioned before who needed help, purely because I lost myself completely. And I'm coming out of that situation semi-traumatized, I'm not going to lie, I'm going to have to go to therapy. So just understand that when you're going outside of these norms, you are putting yourself out there, and putting yourself out there does make you vulnerable. And you have to be okay with that. And I was okay with that when I started help. I sort of made that mental sort of note, or this is going to fuck me up. But I did it, and I'm happy with that, and I'm proud of that. Anyway, so I think that's pretty much it for me today. I'm bored, so bye.